Long ago, when the world was new and still finding its shape, the Zambezi River flowed through the vast wilderness of what is now Zambia. The river was not yet what it is today, though it was still mighty. It coursed gently through the lands, its waters clear and pure, nourishing the land and the creatures that lived along its banks. The people who lived there revered the river, knowing it was the lifeblood of their world. They respected its power and honored the spirits that dwelled within. Yet there was one spirit greater than all, the one who ruled the Zambezi's depths, Nyami Nyami, the river god. He was a being of great mystery, half serpent and half fish, with scales that shimmered like the river in the moonlight. He could be seen by few, but his presence was always felt. The people knew that he was the guardian of the river, the one who kept its waters flowing and its creatures safe. They lived in awe of him, for they knew that Nyami Nyami could be benevolent or vengeful, depending on how he was treated. For many years, the people lived in harmony with the river and its god. They built their homes along its banks, fished its waters, and offered prayers to Nyami Nyami in thanks. The land was bountiful, the crops grew strong, and the animals thrived. But as time passed, the people grew more ambitious. They began to see the Zambezi not as a gift from the gods, but as something they could control and tame. One year, a great chief decided to dam part of the river. He believed that by doing so, he could make the waters flow where he wanted, making it easier to fish and farm. His people were hesitant, whispering amongst themselves about Nyami Nyami's wrath, but the chief would not listen. "The river has served us for generations," he said. "Now it is time for us to shape it to our will." The dam was built, and for a short time, it seemed the chief was right. The waters of the Zambezi obeyed, and the people reaped the benefits. But far beneath the surface, deep in the dark waters where Nyami Nyami lived, the river god stirred. He had been patient, watching the people, waiting to see if they would remember their respect for him. But now they had gone too far. One night, as the people slept, Nyami Nyami rose from the depths. The moon was hidden behind thick clouds, and the air was thick with an unnatural stillness. Those who lived near the river could feel it, a change in the very essence of the water. It no longer flowed gently. Instead, it pulsed with a slow, rising anger. Nyami Nyami stretched his great body, his scales catching the faintest glimmer of starlight. He had tried to warn the people, sending signs in the form of strange ripples and restless winds, but they had ignored him. Now he would make them remember who truly controlled the Zambezi. With a surge of his powerful tail, Nyami Nyami struck the dam. The ground shook, and a deep rumble echoed through the valley as the dam cracked and crumbled under his force. The water that had been held back for so long burst forth, cascading down the valley in a raging torrent. The river roared as it reclaimed its natural path, and the people woke in terror to the sound of its fury. But Nyami Nyami was not finished. He rose higher and higher, his great form towering above the water. He gathered all the power of the Zambezi into himself, and with a mighty roar, he drove it into the earth. The ground split open, and the river was drawn into a deep chasm, its waters crashing down with a deafening roar. The people watched in awe and fear as the river reshaped itself before their eyes. Where there had once been a gentle flow, there was now a towering waterfall, the likes of which no one had ever seen. The water plunged over the edge of the chasm, sending mist and spray into the air. The roar of the falls was so loud that it could be heard for miles around, and the mist rose so high that it could be seen from far away. The people fell to their knees, realizing the magnitude of what they had done. They had angered Nyami Nyami, and in his wrath, he had created something magnificent and terrible. The falls, which they would later call Mosi-oa-Tunya, the smoke that thunders, were a reminder of the power of the river and its god. For days, the falls raged, and the people feared that the river god's wrath would never end. But gradually, the waters calmed, though the falls remained. The people built a shrine to Nyami Nyami, offering gifts and prayers in hopes of appeasing him. They promised never again to try and control the Zambezi, vowing to live in harmony with the river as their ancestors had. Nyami Nyami, watching from the depths, accepted their offerings. He had made his point, and the people had learned their lesson. From that day on, the falls stood as a reminder of the balance between humanity and nature. The river could not be tamed, and Nyami Nyami's power was eternal. As the years passed, the people came to see the falls not as a symbol of destruction, but as a gift. The mist that rose from the falls watered their crops, and the constant flow of water brought life to the valley. They told stories of Nyami Nyami and the creation of the falls to their children and their children's children, passing down the tale through generations. And so it was that the Victoria Falls came to be. A testament to the power of nature and a reminder that some forces are too great to be controlled.